Good afternoon, everybody. We're just going to give people a couple of minutes to join in. I know there's some folks on coming off their lunch hours, so we'll get started about 2 minutes past the hour.
Good afternoon, Barry.
We're going to go ahead and get started in about 30 seconds. All right, it's time to get rocking and rolling. It's 3 minutes past the hour. It sounds like a radio host. 3 minutes past the hour. News and traffic at the top. Good to have everybody join the webinar today. I'm Barry Browne. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Technical Strategy for XenTegra Canada, based out of not so sunny Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's kind of cloudy, miserable today. I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Rizwan Shaikh. Rizwan is our internal VMware / Omnissa EUC expert, and he's going to be presenting most of the technical content today. But I'm going to kick things off with a quick overview, probably, I don't know, 5 minutes, depending how fast I talk, of about XenTegra itself, who we are, the value we bring to the EUC community, and how we can help solve your business problems and address your business needs. So with that being said, let's dig into who is XenTegra and what we do. Oops. So first of all, what is XenTegra? We are a value-added reseller first and foremost. We do abide by, or not abide by, but we call ourselves VAR 2.0, simply because any of the VARs that are out there today, they can sell you a SKU, they can transact all day, but we do much more than that. Which is, this webinar is a good example of that, of coming to the community, coming to our customers, bringing them the content they need to help to educate themselves on the various solutions in the marketplace today. So that's one component of our business. The other one is it's probably it's a secret, really. Well, not a secret, but it's a secret that we really want to get out there. Is we also do strategic consulting services, which is it's actually a large part of our business. We've invested heavily in our internal consulting team across the various EUC offerings in our portfolio, including the Omnissa one that we're going to talk about it in fair detail today. Thanks to the expert on the call, Rizwan. We also offer managed services, and this is anywhere between 1 and 1 million employee size. We have customers all throughout the U.S., India, and Canada. They're taking advantage of our managed services. Managed services, there's a number of different flavors on what that looks like, and we'll be happy to have those conversations if managed services for your IT environment is something of interest. Before I joined XenTegra, I was actually a customer, and one thing that I took advantage of a lot was the complementary micro assessments. So what these are, it's essentially, XenTegra will come into your environment, whether it's an Omnissa or VMware or another solution, And we will do kind of a 4-hour dive into your environment to determine, the good, the bad, and the ugly of your environment. In this case, we could, spend 3-4 hours looking at your Workspace ONE environment to determine, how you have it configured, any recommendations, and how well you're adhering to best practices as published by Omnissa. So I encourage anyone on the call to take advantage of that, because it really is, there's value to be had there. And like I said at the top, it's 100% complimentary. It's a $0 transaction. And we're investing in you as our customers, our potential customers, by completing these assessments. So who's XenTegra continued? So we're actually made up of a number of different entities. One is XenTegra Canada, which is the arm that I work for. We also have XenTegra India. We have XenTegra SledFed, which we call XenTegra Gov, that looks after the SledFed business in the United States. XenTegra One, also based in the US, who looks after the SMB space. And we have our XenTegra MSP practice. I just realized that this slide is out of date. We actually now have XenTegra Australia as of 2 or 3 weeks ago, I want to say. So we're growing, and lots of different offerings out there from to cover all your business needs. So if you have any questions about, you may want to do so, require some more affordable, heavy lifting, if you will. We have our offshore if you want to do business with the Canadian folks, like folks like me. That's where we bring in XenTegra Canada. So it looks 6 distinct companies covering all the IT gamut. Looking at this again, this slide is slightly outdated. We have, I would say, probably around 100 technical specialists. And so you ask yourself, what's a technical specialist? Generally speaking, it's somebody who's certified in a given portfolio. Rizwan, who's going to be speaking later, he has several, I think actually all of the Workspace ONE certifications that are available. And he's just one of the examples of the technical resources we have in-house. We do partner with 30 plus vendors, not all in the EUC space. We partner with, Microsoft, pick a vendor, chances are we have a partnership with them, because in order to run a successful EUC environment, you will need a network, you will need security, you will need identity. And that's why we partner with these other customers to ensure that we have a complete portfolio to address the EUC customer needs. We have a lot more than 350 customers, coming across the 6 business units that we have. So again, I have to talk to my marketing friends to get this slide updated. And we can go from there. Sorry, my phone just rang. So XenTegra was founded in 2012 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The founder of the company, it was an ex-Citrix employee who really wanted to kind of revamp the whole value-added reseller market, which is why he came up with XenTegra, and that's why we invented the VAR 2.0. So XenTegra, we are, I wouldn't say quite a household name, but we're certainly well known. And we're known because of some of the awards that are on the screen today. Citrix Worldwide Partner of the Year, Agile Partner of the Year, Nutanix Cloud Champion. So some significant awards given to us from our vendors because of the events like these, like this, the webinar we're doing, or the podcast we're doing, or the in-person events we do. So we really are investing back into the community, and it's shown by the number of attendees at this event today. Excuse me. Oh, so here's Andy Whiteside, the guy I just mentioned previously. He started the company with this mission statement: we're born of a need for customer-enabled and true partnership. And that's really what we believe in, is partnering with our customers and partnering with our vendors to ensure that we're actually giving the customer what they want, as opposed to just selling them a solution. It really is a partnership in that we go to market together to determine the correct product, correct solution, and the correct technology for a given environment. So again, on the XenTegra, so we have kind of 3 kind of pillars of offerings. We have solutions. Obviously, we're well known for the digital workspace, digital service, and cloud solutions. And the MSP that I mentioned earlier is our consulting services, our managed service, and as well as advisory services we offer to our customers. And of course, the reseller vertical, I guess, if you will, where we can resell products, complete your renewals, and of course, work with you on any cloud workspaces. Excuse me. If we look a bit about the XenTegra stack, we are the EUC guys. There's no we are the EUC company. I don't think there's any way around that. But what we're not so well known for is our cloud networking and security practices. So we're really investing heavily in our teams to to go to market with these products. So I encourage you to reach out to your client executive if you have ongoing cloud networking and security projects or initiatives coming up in the short term. And on this slide, obviously we're running on for EUC, but this slide is actually showing some of the partnerships. And I mentioned, they're not all in the EUC space. Certainly complement EUC, and that's really what this slide is supposed to show you, that we are the EUC guys, and we know all the players and the partners in the ecosystem. Excuse me. So the XenTegra blueprint, what makes us successful? Our people is every company is going to say that, but we do have some of the best technical talent out there in our consulting bench. Our managed services is par none some of the best out there, and real world experience. A lot of our technical folks come to us from IT shops or internal IT. So they've actually experienced the pain of any given enterprise deployment, any given enterprise infrastructure. So we kind of know what to expect when we talk to our customers. And so that experience we bring to the table from an EU's perspective, gives us things like fewer clicks, less latency, less lag, and higher productivity at the end of the day, which is why people invest in EUC, period. So to kind of close things out, does XenTegra value add? Complementary assessments, I encourage you to take advantage of these. They're so valuable. If you need help setting one up for, not necessarily just Omnissa, or for any of the other core technologies that XenTegra is involved with, by all means, reach out to me. I'm happy to get you in touch with the correct people. The webinars, you guys have registered for this, so the value these add. Kind of an add-on to the webinars is the hands-on workshops. So these can be, either in person or online workshops where we actually, get nerdy. We put our hands on the technology, we build out labs, we go through workflows, and determine if the product is right for you and your organization. Again, completely complimentary. So I encourage you guys, when you see them, the hands-on workshops listed on XenTegra.com/events, sign up. You have nothing to lose. The only thing you're going to gain is some knowledge. And of course, we do podcasts. I want to say we have 9 podcasts. If you're into podcasting, check out our VMware podcast, Citrix, iGel. We have a new MSP podcast, so they're all out there for your consumption. And one thing, again, I want folks to take advantage of is our heavily discounted conference passes. For example, AWS reInvent is coming up at the end of the month. I think we're sending, I want to say 30 customers with 90% off passes. And the only reason we don't do 100% is simply because various states have various tax reasons that we can't give them away. Otherwise, I think we would. So, for a $3,000 conference, I think the end user, the customer, has to spend $300 to get their technical team or their the finance team or their executive team down to Las Vegas for a week to consume all the knowledge that's happening at reInvent. That's just one example. We also do iGel Disrupt. We used to do Synergy before that went away. VMworld, of course, is a big one for us. So if you're interested in taking advantage of those conference passes, please reach out. I'll be happy to have those conversations with you. And with that, a little bit of housekeeping. I'm done yapping for a little bit here.
Barry, there's a question. When is AWS event in Las Vegas?
Don't quote me, but I want to say December 2nd is the opening day.
Okay.
So, Roy, that's for you. Ping me once I stop talking here. I can start a conversation with you privately, and we can go from there. Housekeeping. I'm going to turn things over to Rizwan here shortly, but we want this session to be as interactive as possible. So by all means, put your questions in the chat. I'll interrupt Rizwan, ask your question, and we can have a bit of a dialogue that way. When we used to do these webinars, or not webinars, but these presentations in person, this would be the time where I tell you where the bathroom was, where the coffee machine is. But now I just tell you, just write a question in the chat, and we can go from there. All that being said, let's get on talking about everything Omnissa and Workspace ONE, and that's where I'm going to turn it over to you, Rizwan, to share the knowledge.
Thank you very much, Barry. Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen. Team, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Barry. Okay, team, thank you. Again, everybody, thank you very much. My name is Rizwan. I'm a solutions architect in XenTegra. And today we're going to be talking about Omnissa Workspace ONE. And what is Omnissa Workspace ONE? What's the advantage of Workspace ONE and how it can be better utilized to manage all the end user computing devices today, and how do we achieve the exceptional end user experience along with the endpoint security. So just got a little deep dive on what Omnissa Workspace ONE is. So just to start with the definition of Workspace ONE is a unified endpoint management platform that brings in the capability of managing devices, managing applications, managing settings on the device, policies, everything that you can talk about devices which end users uses it. This device can be literally anything. It can be a mobile phone, it can be a laptop, it can be a tablet device. And that's where the Workspace ONE says, when it can bring in any device for that matter. It can be your own device, BYO device, or it can be a corporate-owned device, or it can be a mobile phone for that matter. So along with that, it's got multiple other features, starting right with the BYO device, the specific, more famous name that we say for all the endpoint management devices. Supports full lifecycle management, starting right from the device firmware upgrades, the OS management, to the application management, antivirus and the patch management, including the antivirus management, ensuring security at its peak when the users log into the devices literally from anywhere. Leveraging zero trust. We're going to be deep diving on zero trust at some point of time in the sections in this slide decks. We're going to be talking more in detail of what zero trust is and what Omnissa Workspace ONE plays, what role Omnissa Workspace ONE plays in zero trust. Single sign-on capability. That's the capability that talks about not only providing a good end user experience, but also talking about how security is well leveraged actually using single sign-on capability across all the applications of the end users today. Easy login with Intelligent Hub. So Workspace ONE has this capability called Intelligent Hub. It's one single platform, it's one single application that integrates with all the other applications in a very granular way. In the sense, when you log on to Intelligent Hub, you would be able to go ahead to see all your applications as a part of an application catalog, communicate and collaborate with your IT team at the same time. You can also go ahead and see what's going on in your company environment, by the company's newsroom, basically. And you can also go ahead and get in touch with your collaborator, with your colleagues, and with your peers. Actually, to talk more about any kind of application that you want to discuss with. Applications, users get enormous amount of applications to work on, right? In a normal enterprise, customers, you would have multiple applications to work on, typically 20 to 30 applications. Now, that being said, you may not get all the set of applications at one point of time. So you may need to decide at first which application you would like to work on, and then you go ahead starting with multiple other applications as well. And this is where the self-service capability of Omnissa Workspace ONE brings in. The self-service capability actually goes ahead. With the self-service capability, you can go ahead, choose an application that you want to work on, and the moment you start, and the moment you choose the application, a workflow is initiated, which goes right to your reporting manager. The reporting manager approves it, and then after that, it is automatically assigned to you and on your Workspace ONE catalog. And this is where we talk about no touch or a zero touch configuration, where you don't have to literally go contact any IT team, authorize that application for yourself, get the reporting, get the approval done, and then finally get the applications list. So all of this happens in a very autonomous way. And this is where we say the complete autonomous system that brings in the Workspace ONE solution. Complete deployment of applications that you have, or settings, or the policies that you want that the IT wants to leverage on, is everything happens over the air, or what we say famously OTA. Now, over the air is a feature where you can get the policies irrespective of where the device is, irrespective of where you are, whether you're in office or you're in home, working from home, or you can be anywhere in the public network. You'll be able to fetch in your application, start working in the application day zero. Organizations can also do device tracking specifically for those devices which are corporate owned. So if you have any kind of use cases where you have frontline workers coming in, where you have like FedEx for that matter, or UPS for that matter, where you have frontline workers working on the corporate owned devices, the devices can be tracked on. The devices can the organizations can see like where the devices are, and they can take initiative and they can take actions on how if they want to collaborate or if they want to communicate with those users and handling those devices. On the organization, on the IT front, IT gets a complete 360-degree view of the device, of the applications, of the settings, and of the status of the device as well. So, which means that the device, the IT has complete visibility of the device, of the user, and yet the user has complete end user experience on that particular device. With this, what really happens is the user gets an optimal performance. The user has a day zero productivity across on the device and the applications, and the IT gets to go ahead and define all the policy settings where they want to define it as per the security standards. The policy engines are pretty dynamic, which means you can go ahead, you can define the policies, and automatically the policy gets applied to the devices in the real-time ways. And finally, you have self-service. The self-service capabilities is basically this self-service capability is more driven on an AI or a machine learning capabilities, where the users can actually go ahead and the IT administrator can go ahead and collaborate with each other to provide that day zero experience for the end users. I see a lot of questions probably that are coming in, but I'll be happy to answer those questions actually in some point of time.
Yeah, no questions yet per se, Rizwan. Just some chat in the webinar chat.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep. Okay, so starting with peeling the onion, basically peeling the onion, basically. So we go ahead and start going ahead and double clicking on what are the components of Workspace ONE is. So you have Workspace ONE console, which basically takes care of providing management to the devices, management to the applications. We have something called as device services, which is responsible to enroll device, push the policies across on the device, push the applications and resources which the user needs it in day zero. The API services are the one which can talk to all the Workspace ONE components, starting right from Workspace ONE Unified Endpoint Management Solution, as you can see here. You have something called as Workspace ONE Access that provides you the identity and access management solution. Workspace ONE Intelligence is basically the complete dashboard and proactive reporting that happens across an intelligence platform. And then we have multiple other features of Workspace ONE, starting right from Workspace ONE Tunnel Services as well, including Cloud Connector and the machine learning capabilities, which is integrated with intelligence platform. So all of this forms a bundled solution for an end customer, for a customer. And this goes along with not only integrating with Workspace ONE, but also integrating with customers, with organizations' environment, right from Active Directory to any other solution that they have, like ServiceNow or Salesforce for that matter, Office 365, any other CRM solution that you have today, it can be well integrated across with the Workspace ONE platform. So, yes, as I said, Workspace ONE is a unified endpoint management solution, which not only does mobile, but also desktops, but it covers a lot of the range of devices as well. Starting right from the mobile devices, your iOS and the Androids of the world, you have Windows machines, Windows 10, Windows 11. You also go ahead with macOS machines, Linux machines for that matter, IoT-based devices. When we talk about edge computing, Workspace ONE plays a very important role in edge computing when we talk about IoT-based IoT-enabled devices. The Workspace ONE XR Hub is something that is really, really important that is coming up really in a big way for all the other devices that we see today. It can work on literally any platform and supports any kind of use cases at all. So it can be a BYO use case where you have users own mobile devices and they just want to access a couple of applications like email for that matter. Users focus on the email applications. IT's focus is dominantly on the email application and the security of the email applications. Corporate-owned devices, where the devices are being given by the by the organization itself, and including the purpose-built organization, the purpose-built devices. The basics of all of these features and capability is to ensure that the solution provides you a gap, provides you a bridge that basically ends up the gap between the end user experience and the IT security and the complex IT security that we see across. And for that to happen, you need to have a solution which can not only work in Office or in Trust Network, but it can also work in the same way and also provide the same security capabilities in an untrusted world. And that's where the Workspace ONE solution brings in a lot more capabilities. And when we talk about frictionless experience, and when we talk about consistent experience, this is where we say that irrespective of where the user is, the experience will remain the same for the end user. Whether you are in Office or you're outside, the experience to access an application, the experience to access a resource would remain exactly the same way. So yeah, a little bit of Workspace, a little bit of Zero Trust and how Workspace ONE integrates with Zero Trust. So when we talk about Zero Trust, there are 5 main attack pillars that we talk about, right? I mean, we talk about like the device, we talk about users, we talk about network, or in short, we talk about transport or session-based trust. We talk about application, which finally we talk about data trust actually. So Workspace ONE is able to define capabilities across all of these 5 attack pillars. So these are the 5 attack pillars. So these are the vantage points where we actually have an exploit happening, where an incident is happening across for a threat actor, for an adversary. Now, having to say this, I mean, for an adversary or for an attacker, it is very easy. If he gains control of any of these 5 attack vectors, he'll be able to exploit, he'll be able to create, and there'll be an incident, there'll be a security incident that can come across. So Workspace ONE, apart from providing the end user experience, it also provides a capability of leveraging Zero Trust across all of these 5 threat points. Now, when we talk about 5 threat points, this is how the Workspace ONE covers up for all the 5 threat points. The device trust is well taken care by endpoint management solution, including intelligence and Workspace ONE access. We are we not only go ahead and integrate with all of these components, but we also go ahead and integrate with next generation antivirus solutions, where the output of that antivirus solutions can actually go ahead and mitigate a threat, or Workspace ONE can block a connection to the outside world for the end users. So basically, it can actually go ahead, it can actually go ahead and leverage the Workspace ONE risk. This is a component called Workspace ONE risk scoring, where it can actually go ahead and leverage advanced machine learning capabilities to score every device that you see here on the organization, and score the overall and understand the overall user behavior. And based on that, it can take an action for that particular end user, for that particular device. User trust is pretty much very important. And the most weakest exploit, the most vulnerable along all of these 5 attack vectors is users, right? When we talk about the getting compromised. And this is where Workspace ONE can leverage a very strong authentication system for the end users. Workspace ONE can bring in multi-factor authentication system across for the user devices, for the user access. So the moment the user goes ahead, signs in to a single source of truth like an Active Directory, Workspace ONE can leverage a multi-factor authentication system. Now, this multi-factor authentication can either be Workspace ONE's built-in multi-factor authentication, which is called Hub Verify, or it can be a simple certificate-based authentication, or it can be a risk-based scoring that can actually understand the device statistics, the status of the device, and based on that, provide a response action to Workspace ONE to either block a particular access or allow a particular access. And then and even after that, I mean, it can go ahead, tag this response along with some other capability, some other solution, a third-party solution for that matter, and provide a complete secure access for that particular end user. Data trust is pretty much very important. The ability for the end users to go ahead, share the data across to the organization can also become a threat. Yeah. So this is where the Workspace ONE plays an important role. Workspace ONE's device, dynamic dynamic environment manager, as well as the Horizon component that comes in. Horizon is the virtual desktop infrastructure that comes across, together integrated with the VMware SDN-based solution called NSX, can actually provide you a complete capability to protect your data across. The dynamic environment manager can actually protect you from any kind of data leaks that can happen. So the user, when he goes ahead and logs into the Workspace ONE environment, or when he goes and logs into a virtual desktop environment, the user will not be able to either go and share the data the way he wants to have it. It all depends on the policies itself. So you can define the policies, and the policy will work accordingly in a real-time way for that particular user across in that particular session for the user. The transportations or the network-based trust is also well maintained. When we talk about NSX-based solutions, or we talk about Workspace ONE tunnel services. So Workspace ONE tunnel is a VPN solution. It's a solution which provides you a complete capability of tunnel. And this is an application-based tunnel, or we can say an application-based VPN, which defines tunnel for every single application that you see. Unlike the traditional VPN approach that we have got, the moment the VPN that is fired, your entire device becomes a part of VPN network, and that's something which the tunnel services doesn't do it. Tunnel is only leveraged when it is needed, when the application needs it. When the application is triggered, the tunnel is automatic. When the application is launched, the tunnel is automatically triggered, and then after that, the user gets access to the corporate network, or the user gets access to all the corporate information that he needs to have it. So the policy which is defined on the devices, the policy which is defined on the end users is pretty much streamlined. It's pretty much granular, and we can define what kind of policy is needed for a specific application or a specific data. So this whole thing brings in the capability of Workspace ONE Trust, Workspace ONE, and the Zero Trust. And we say the Zero Trust is not providing a trust, but then verifying users at each and every step that it goes through. Well, it basically follows the principles of least privilege, which means that the moment, even if the user gets access to a particular resource, the user would have a least privilege on that application till the time he needs a full access on that application. So this is where it goes across. When you define Zero Trust across for the when you integrate with Workspace ONE, you get exactly the same experience for the Zero Trust capability as well. Going ahead, we have now we all started with the journey for Workspace ONE as well. So when we started with Workspace ONE back in 2015 and 2016, this was pretty much only device management. Yeah, we used to manage the corporate devices or BYO devices, and the device management particularly was only to ensure that device is secure, the application in the device are secure, and the user and device is not stolen, or the user doesn't misbehave with the devices. That's what the pure device management capability that was brought in. However, moving forward, Workspace ONE actually evolved to provide a better experience for the end users, to provide an experience where the users can see their own application in the form of a catalog. So users can go launch application, install an application of their choice, and they can start working on those applications. All of these applications are authorized for the user at the backend engine in Workspace ONE from the IT itself, and then the IT can go ahead, either provision that application or deprovision that application, and everything happens centrally for that particular user. Now, thinking about this and tagging along with Zero Trust, even the applications which have become vulnerable or which has been exploited, the Workspace ONE can actually sense the application's inherent statistics, and it can actually deprovision the application across from the Workspace ONE platform, so that users will not go ahead and install those applications by mistake and then start working on this application, or the user will not go ahead and start working on the application which is already installed on that particular device. And finally, we brought in the better experience, the complete frictionless experience that we talk about, right? I mean, we talked about Hub experience, which we got it from Intelligent Hub. The Intelligent Hub application basically ensured that users are not only able to see the application catalog, but they are also able to go ahead and collaborate with their colleagues with the people search that you see a small icon here. Go ahead and talk to support if you have any issues with the support section that you see here. Get notified to the latest things which is happening. Get notified to things which may be very important for the end users. Typically, like, let's say, for example, if your Office 365 is down, although it doesn't go down, but then yeah, if the Office 365 goes down at some point of time due to any kind of unavoidable issues, you have a notification coming on the Workspace ONE to say that Office 365 is down. Now, this notification is sent by IT, and this notification can be a very simple notification which would just inform you, or it can also take an acknowledgement from you to say that, hey, you have acknowledged this application. This notification also brings in the capability of providing a survey to you. So in the sense, like, if you go ahead for a specific training, the notification can actually collect information from you, whether the training was good, how did you like that training. So it can be a small survey that the notification can take in, and it can just feed in an intelligence platform to say, how was that experience for all the end users. Mr. mentioned, but then yes, you can also go ahead and rate your applications in the Hub catalog. So when you launch an application, when you start working on an application, you can actually go ahead and also share your experience, how the application was. You can go ahead and start rating this application in the count of 5. That how was this application? You can also leave your comments and also give your suggestions on how you can make this application better for everybody. And finally, we have a very small section which is called Home, or which is basically an intranet page. So when you in an organization, when you're always outside, you might need to know. You would like to know, like, what exactly is happening in the organizations. Say, for example, if the huge M&A that has happened, mergers and acquisitions which has happened, you would need to know, like, what exactly is happening on your organization. So the intranet page basically gives you a home page of your organization to let you know what is happening. It's basically a company's newsroom where you can say that what exactly is happening in the overall organization, and that literally gives you a lot of information. Now, with this, all of this that you see here, this goes not only for an iPhone, but it also goes for any kind of device. This configuration that we see, the Hub app catalog, the catalog with an end user experience, identity management solution, everything gets bundled across for any kind of device that you have today in the environment. We also support, Workspace ONE also supports devices which are IoT-enabled devices, as I said, but also going forward with rugged devices, and also basically the edge computing devices, including the IoT devices which you see on the plant instrumentation, but you also see it, on the other hand, the XR devices that you have, the XR hubs that you have, that can also be well managed by a Workspace ONE platform. And finally, we have Workspace ONE Intelligence. Now, Workspace ONE Intelligence is basically a complete dashboard, provides you a complete dashboard, including analytics and insights to what is happening in the environment when you have Workspace ONE, when you have devices enrolled and registered with Workspace ONE. So intelligence is basically provides you dashboards, provides you reporting, which are basically historical records. It provides you actions, provides you notifications, and it also does risk-based scoring. So when we talk about machine learning capabilities, which actually goes inspects your machine and understand like how the machine status is, and based on that, it can take decisions whether access should be allowed to a particular resource. It can also go ahead and understand user behavior for that matter. So the risk-based scoring that you see here is actually a part of intelligence, which actually goes ahead, understand how is the user working, and what is the behavior of this particular user who's working onto a system. Say, for example, you have an end user who works 9 to 5 every day, but all of a sudden you see this user working at 2 a.m. in the morning, this is out of his office hours, and why exactly he's working. So risk-based scoring would actually understand all of these actions, all of these threats, all of these behaviors of end users, and if it sees any unusual activities or any kind of, and because of that unusual activity, any kind of CVEs that are coming across, any kind of critical CVEs that we've seen, or any kind of other threat analytics that it has seen, it would go ahead and take an actionable decision. So this is what is done across on the Workspace ONE intelligence. So this basically covers up all the components of Workspace ONE, starting right from Workspace ONE UEM to Workspace ONE Access, Horizon for that matter, which is a virtual desktop computing solution. And this provides you a broad layout of CVEs that it sees, the common vulnerability and exposures that comes across, and you can see that in cv.metri.org. But at the same time, we can also see that in the NIST. And NIST, it also provides you capabilities. It also provides you integrates with NIST actually to understand what are the standards which needs to be adhered to. Workspace ONE also provides you baselines. Now, these are the baselines which should ensure, which should be there, which you can define it, a custom built baseline. We can define it and say that this is how the machine should be working, or this is how the security should be invoked. The capability should be invoked actually on the devices. Same thing goes with threat analytics actually, which is basically using trust networks. So threat analytics is nothing but it understands like how is the machine behaving on an end-to-end day-to-day activities. Is there any kind of threat which has come across? So all of these informations are being aggregated, are being correlated, are being collected across to Workspace ONE Intelligence platform, so that Workspace ONE Intelligence can take an action based on the policies which are defined for the devices and for the end users. Workspace ONE Intelligence is hosted across a cloud platform. It has to be a cloud platform, and where it can integrate with all the other solutions across. The entire solution, basically, if you look at it, the capability right from aggregating all of the resources, all of the data points, to correlating all the data points, including automating all of the data points, including providing an automation policies. Everything happens on the intelligence platform. So the capability of artificial intelligence, AI and machine learning capabilities, everything can be seen on intelligence platform itself, which provides you an autonomous system across on the Workspace ONE platform. That's it for me actually. If I have any questions, please you can chat with me, and I can answer those questions.
Yeah, Rizwan, so thanks for doing it. There's no questions per se in the chat, but I encourage the attendees to reach out to your local client exec. If you don't happen to know who that is, feel free to send me an email, barry.browne, Browne with an E at the end, at XenTegra.com, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. And I hope folks found value in this webinar. If you're interested in more webinars that we offer, again, XenTegra.com/events. We'll have all our in-person virtual events listed on our website. And as I mentioned at the top of the call, we do give those conference passes away. So XenTegra.com/conferences, if you're interested in attending some industry conferences with XenTegra, we'd love to have you. And that being said, with no questions, I'm going to end the webinar, and we look forward to seeing you guys on our next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.